Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Understanding Wave Accounting Software. We're going to run you through just some tips and tricks on how to actually use that this morning. And thank you, Linda, for giving up your Sunday morning to actually join us to go through this process. So, accountable, we're a bit different to your normal accounting firm. So, yes, we do your financial accounts and file them with inland revenue and all that sort of stuff, but we don't actually see much value in end of year financial accounts. We would rather work with you throughout the year so that you know exactly where your business is at any point in time. We also do bookkeeping for some of our clients, and a special niche, I suppose you could say, we actually work with companies in financial difficulty. So my background is IRD and insolvency. So I actually help companies turn themselves around. We negotiate ways for them to pay off their debt, and they become profitable again with some education. And another space that we sort of play in is business development. So that's your business plans, cash flow management, actually trying to work out where your business is going and what you're hoping to get out of it. So today I'm going to jump into Wave and we'll have a look at it. Bear with me one moment. Are you having any issues at all in particular, Linda?
None, except I don't know how to use it at all.
Okay, and you found it quite easy to set up? We don't need to go down through that one?
Oh, it was really, really easy to set up. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Wave is, I'm just going to change this over now. Oops. Stop that. And we'll share screen to here. So is this now we're looking at the countable demo, Linda? A Wave screen?
Yep.
Yep, cool. So essentially Wave is a free version of accounting software. It is similar to Xero, gives us the same sort of functionality, so really, really good for startup businesses who can't afford the Xero subscription. What I sort of suggest to people is that we start you out on Wave and you learn the hand, get into the rhythm of actually reconciling your financial accounts, transactions on a daily basis or monthly. And as you grow, we then move you to a Xero cash book, and then eventually you end up on the full version of Xero, but Wave is a really good place to start. So here you've got your dashboard. So this actually shows you money coming in, money going out. One of the first things I would say to do once you've actually got it set up is invite a guest collaborator. So down here, you can actually invite in your accountant. So my clients that are on Wave, I can actually review their work and actually see what they're up to. So for an accountant, I would advise go with admin. I absolutely love Wave for the fact that you can be an editor if you're just an accountant, but if you're a trusted accountant, then you can be an admin. So it's up to you to decide whether I'm an accountant or a trusted accountant as to which access you decide to give me. Just by clicking on this, it is a case of just putting in the name and number, name and email, and giving them the access that they need. We as accountants, we can see everything, but we only have limited access to your banking. And to be honest, we really don't need access to your banking anyway. So that's perfect for us. If we go back to your dashboard, so here you've got money coming in, and you can look at it last 12 months, last 24 months. You can view reports, and this is a cash flow report that you're doing. And that tells you where your money has actually come from. So this is money coming in, that's money going out, this is the net cash. Remember, cash profit in your financial account is not the same as cash. So really get the hang of this is cash, and a lot of small business owners are actually operating on a cash basis. So this is quite a good report to look at just to see how much money you have got and how much you don't have. And then you can go detail summary. We do not have payroll in New Zealand. That's only an American option at this stage. And to be honest, I wouldn't use an overseas payroll system because the laws here in New Zealand are quite specific. So only ever use a New Zealand payroll system. When it comes to creating a new invoice, so you go create a new invoice. And in here, we can set it up. And so let's say we're going to add a customer. We're going to create a new customer today. So this one is going to be called Frank Stein. And he is Frank at Somerville. Frank Stein, there we go. So we can actually add further details. So you've got the billing address, you've got shipping, and then you've got more details. So if you're one of these companies that would like account numbers for your clients, if you want to actually add in phone numbers, websites, anything like that, then you can add it in here. If you want to write notes in here to say Frank's wife is Shannon and her birthday is the 22nd of March, then you can actually put in all these notes into here. So then Frank won't ever see these, but it's good for you to remember to email Frank and say, don't forget to buy your wife a birthday present. So then here, this is your invoice number. If they have got a PO number or anything like that, we can enter it here. Payment dates, you can actually choose. So on receipt or within 45 days, or you can do whatever you like. So in here, we can edit columns. So you can change the quantity. So if we want to have that as quantity rather than hours, and we want it as a price, then we can change that. So we've only changed at this stage the columns for this one invoice. We haven't changed them for all. If we look at this, and down here it says apply these settings for all future ones, then it will change for all. But you can actually have different invoices depending on what it is you're actually doing. So for the purposes of today, I'm going to go back to service hours rate. Add an item, and today we're going to call this bookkeeping. We don't have bookkeeping as a service currently set up, so I'm now going to go and set up bookkeeping. So bookkeeping will be customized rate as quoted, and that is $350. I would not recommend Wave for a business that is GST registered. Wave is only good for those startups that are not GST registered. There are some companies that are using it with GST, but it is actually just a bit of a nightmare. So really, by the time you get to being GST registered, you actually should be able to afford a cash book version at least. So then there would be no tax because we've got no GST. Down here, we've got our terms. You can add in a footer if you would like to. Put in a thank you note, thank you for your custom. And now we're going to have a look at that invoice. So this is what the invoice looks like. So this is the company that I work with, Accountable Demo. This is our logo. This is going to Frank Stein. This is all the details. Customised rate as quoted. Please pay. Thank you for your support. Have a great day. So we're happy with that. And now I can actually approve that. And we can send it. And then we can put in here a message to say, have a great day, Frank. Here is my invoice. Talk to you on Tuesday. I prefer always attach a PDF to the invoice that you're sending out, because a lot of accounting softwares these days, you can just email in the PDF, and if you don't have a PDF attached, then they've got to go and download it and do all that sort of stuff. So just add in the PDF is much more simpler. And then you can choose how you want to send it. So then today, we're now going to send the invoice was sent. So you can actually download the invoice and then you get notifications when the invoice is paid. I'll just close that. So then you've got, here's Frank, you've now got a record. So this is what we've done, we've recorded, we've created the invoice, then we've sent it today. We can resend it just by clicking on this one here, and then we can record a payment. If you're interested, you can actually turn on credit card payments, and generally these get paid a lot faster. So by turning on credit card payments, that means that it's through Stripe. So the same organisations that Xero and MyOb and everyone else use, you can use those with these guys as well. And it just means that when the invoice goes out to your clients, there is actually a payment gateway for them to click on and go, yes, pay now, and then the money's deposited into your bank account within 7 days. So, and that is actually really simple to set up as well. So just follow your nose, follow your steps if you want to actually work with Stripe. I personally do in my business. So it is worthwhile investigating. You can do reoccurring invoices. So if you're going to do the same job every week or every month, you can actually just set up an invoice to go out every month without having to worry about it. So that's just under recurring invoices. Set it up exactly the same way. If we create one now, we're going to go to Frank Stein again, because he's been a nice guy. And bookkeeping is actually going to be $350 a month. And so we want him to pay on the first day of every month, create invoice, it's never going to end. And then we can accept credit cards, or we can do a manual payment every time he pays. So we're going to go manual payment because I haven't set up the credit card. And so then that's the invoice that he's going to get every month. So have a good look around this one, especially if you've got regular work that you do for clients. It just makes life so much easier. Wave have just brought out custom statements. So if we actually look at Frank Stein, here's his bills. So he's got invoice 2, that one hasn't been paid. If I want to look at Sarah Showerman, then she's got an overdue bill here as well. So And it is just a case of send statement, write your little message, and you're done. So it just makes things so much easier. No Word documents, no having to keep track of everything. It's actually all here for you. If we look at your customers, exactly the same way that we've set them up before, you can actually just go in here and add a customer. So if you want to add a saved payment method, edit them, or even just delete them, you can actually do that. And then products and services. So if you've got various things that you do, exactly what we just showed before is, here we go, GST returns. Gosh, I do boring stuff. Preparing and filing GST returns. And so that is $75. And we sell this, and the income goes through to sales. If you buy things as well, then you might want to add them in. But that would be more if you are buying tennis balls because you're a tennis coach. So we can actually add in items here that are actually purchased ones, not selling ones. So if we just jump into settings for a minute. So this is where you've got all of your customization. So here you've got your users, and this is where you invite in your bookkeeper or your accountant, or if you've got a partner that's going to do some of your work, they can actually be invited in through here. So that's under settings. Invoice customization, you've got some options, which is more than what Xero's actually got, to be fair. And so if we look, you've got your contemporary option, which is quite nice. You've got your classic option, which has a whole different feel to it. And then you've got your modern invoice. So you can choose which one of those that you actually like, which suits your business. So then once you've actually chosen the style, then you can upload your logo. You can actually add in the colors that you actually want to have emphasized in your invoice. And so this is where we can set default payment terms. So this could be due upon receipt, could be within 45 days, it can be whatever you actually want it to be. So what this means is once this is set, all of your invoices are going to have the same information on them, unless you actually customize it like we did previously. So you can call this a gift for work done if you want to. Oops, not Word. So if you don't like the idea of it being an invoice, you can call it whatever you like. We can add in here things like, or it might actually just be that this is an invoice for bookkeeping services. Here we can actually write the whole have a great day. So you actually don't need to keep typing each time you send out an invoice. Have a day. Have a great day. And this is where you would actually put in, you know, due to our terms and conditions, you're required to pay within 15 days. Here is my bank account number, many thanks. So we'll save that. And if you do quotes, so we can actually say that this is a quote, not an estimate, because estimates are pretty overseas things. We can save that. And this is where you can set all your headings and columns and stuff. But remember, you can actually itemize each one or customize each one at the point of doing if you've got a particular client that's got different information required. So if we just jump back to sales now and create an invoice. Have a great day. Oh, there you go. So there we've got, let me just go back to that. We'll add in an item. And that's no longer an invoice, it's now a gift for work done. So you can, whatever is actually appropriate for your work, you can actually change that. So jump back to settings. And we'll look at payments. And this is your payment gateway. So you can set that up either through the invoice screen or through the settings page. Receipts. So you can upload via an email or capture details automatically. My advice would be that many people have actually got a Google Drive or 365 or something like that. Use Wave to actually capture your transactions and get your profit and loss and actually run regular reports to understand how your business is operating. But at the same time, I would be taking photos and uploading them to, say, OneDrive or things like that, and just block them into, it would be in OneDrive in March 2020, these would be all the invoices and the receipts that I've got for that month, rather than try and upload it all into Wave. Got dates and currency. If you want to, you can change it to be whichever New Zealand dollar, but generally we actually end the fiscal year on the 31st of March. So just make sure that that one is set up correctly. And sales tax. Ideally, we don't really want a sales tax in Wave. So if we now jump into bills, we can create a bill. Let's say this is the power bill. So power for June. And the bill is $250. And up here, you would actually be writing the bill number. So that would be, and over here, obviously, add a new vendor. Let's call them Energy Online. So one of the first things I would actually suggest you look at doing is actually customize your chart of accounts. So we can do this under accounting, chart of accounts. And the reason why I say that is everyone's business is different. So we want to actually think about what you need. You know, you might need a special account because you spend money at, let's go to expenses. You spend money that is regular. So let's just say every month you have your toilet cleaned. And so we may not have this in here. So it would be an expense. This is an operating expense. Toilet cleaning. And so now down here we should have toilet cleaning. If we want to go and edit that, it is just a case of clicking the edit button. If there are things here that you're not going to actually use, then you can actually click on it. So if we say we're not going to have any meals and entertainment, we can actually click that, archive the account, and then it actually won't come up anymore. So then you're not going to have to scroll through a whole bunch of accounts that don't mean much to you. So go through, create them. If it's a income, so let's say we've got a special line of clothing sales. And so then you can actually start really making it quite easy as to which transaction goes where. The one thing I would say is if you've got, let's say, a income stream like branded clothing, obviously you've got to buy the clothing to be able to brand it to then sell. So always set up an income account and an expense account so that we can actually see for that one income stream what the costs have actually been. So then you can just go through, create the accounts, credit cards, loans, assets, bank accounts, that sort of stuff. You just go through and set them all up in here. Here we've got some transactions. So we can go through and let's say this, this, and this is we shall call that subscriptions. And if we're going to like tick multiple ones, you can actually go edit at the top. It is a category, subscriptions. Mark selected transactions as reviewed. So there we go. So we can now go through and it's coded them all for us. So the ones with a tick have actually been coded. The ones that are not green are still waiting to be done. So I can then, in here, payment received for an invoice. So let's go to here and we'll find one. So click on the payment received and then it comes up with all the invoices that are actually outstanding waiting for payment. So if we're going to apply this money to Sarah Somerville. This one, we will say that's payment received and that's Frank Stein. So you can just go through, find out which it best suits, which is always good to actually start this up front with creating your custom chart of accounts, because then it makes it easier. You know your business. You really shouldn't have to do too much with these accounts here, assets, liability, equity. Those ones there probably won't have transactions coded to them. But if you've ever got any questions, by all means get in touch and I can have that discussion. But the majority of your transactions will actually be in the expense or income. So if we now look at this income one, so what I've done there is I've just clicked on the transaction, so it brings it all up in a bigger screen. And this is where you can actually just do the business here. Any questions on that, Linda? Or is that quite easy to understand?
think it's relatively easy to understand. I think so when it says account in Wave, it just simply means an account that you're giving it a name. It doesn't mean a particular bank account for your bank account for your business. It's quite separate, isn't it?
So where it's actually got account, so if we go to these ones, go edit, it says change category. Category is motor vehicle expenses, entertainment, office expenses, that sort of stuff. That is the category that you're coding to. Account is a bank account. So if we had bank accounts set up in here, then it would actually be referring to the bank account. So we can transfer money between accounts, but the categories are what you are reconciling to.
Yep.
So, and I think if we were to look at this one here, payment sent for a bill in Wave, and here's our bill here. So if you're paying a bill, or if you are getting paid for an invoice, don't code it as sales or anything like that, because, and this happens in Xero as well, where people will go, okay, I've entered my bill, and now here's the payment coming out of the bank account, and then they go and code it to the actual category. So then what we've actually got sitting in the system is the bill that you've entered plus the payment, and so that doubles it up. So always make sure that if you've paid something that has been entered into the system, then you actually allocate that payment to the invoice that you've created. We can come into here and go, oh gosh, that's not frank, we've made a mistake, and then you can actually change that and go, that was actually just normal sales. So you can actually change them once you've coded them. So the way to actually get these in here, unfortunately, I think it was just before Christmas, the New Zealand banks stopped supporting bank feeds for Wave. And the reason being that to get bank feeds in Wave, you had to put in your username and password the same way that you'd be accessing internet banking. And the banks found that that was actually a breach of privacy because you were providing your PIN number to someone else, and that had too much risk. And so they've now stop that. You can upload a bank statement. And so it is just a case of going into your internet banking, downloading a CSV file, which you can just export your transactions to an Excel file, choosing that file and then uploading it into the bank account. So if you've got, say, 4 bank accounts set up in Wave, and we're uploading the file for your working bank account, then you would choose the working bank account, and then it would then ask you to upload. And then it has 3 questions along the lines of confirm the column that has the date in it, confirm the column that's got the payee in it, and confirm the column that's got the amount. And so once you've just confirmed that, then it's all imported, and then you just end up in this transaction screen where you can go through and allocate them all to the categories that they need to be in. You do have the reconciliation. So what you can actually do here is once you've actually got your accounts entered, then you can go into here, reconcile it. So the bank statement is at, let's say, $250. So this screen here is very much to say that what we've actually got in the bank is exactly what we've got in Wave. So when you enter your bank statement and you've coded it all, then you would come into here and it would ask you what your bank statement actually says. So the final balance is $250. The Wave balance at this point is $237.42. So we've got a difference of $12.58. So obviously we've missed a transaction of $12.58 somewhere along the line. So that's what this screen is for. It's about actually understanding that what we've got on Wave is correct. Xero does this automatically. We don't need to do this, but this is a manual step, and considering Wave is free, it's actually not bad to do. Does that make sense, Linda?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Overwhelming, but makes sense.
Yep. And by all means, sit down and watch the recording afterwards of this session. And there's a lot in Wave. It's just a case of working. The more you use it, the easier it's going to become. And I think regardless, any accounting software is going to be overwhelming to start with anyway. And here is your report. So at any point in time, as long as you've actually done your uploading of your bank statements and reconciled things, then we can look at this and actually see exactly how much money we've made. So as accountants, we'll come into here and we'll actually start pulling these reports. Here at Accountable, we actually run Xero accounts for all of our clients. So even if you start out on Wave, we start you on Xero. So as you grow, then we can just actually upgrade the file that we've got for you, and then eventually you'll have your entire history actually all in Xero. So you can refer back and see how you started. So here you've got, this is our income. We don't have any cost of goods sold. These are our expenses and this is our profit. And you can break that down and actually go even further. So at the moment, we've got uncategorized income of $810. If we have a look at that, and it takes us back to our transaction screen that we now need to deal with. And this is our computer subscription, uncategorized expenses. So once again, if we open that up, then it takes us back to our transactions that we need to actually reconcile. So right now, our net profit is 59.6% of our total income, which is actually really healthy net profit. If you're going to start looking at how to operate your business and stuff like that, cost of goods sold, we sort of want that round about 30%, depending on the industry that you're in. And ideally, your operating expenses will be about 30% and the rest will be yours. So we just need to make sure that we're not ending up with net profit down here of say 7%, because that means that you're not getting any money. It's all disappearing out through the business. So we can also look at income by customer. So you want to know who's actually giving you all the money. And so Frank Stein and Sarah Showerman, they're actually giving us all our money at this point in time. We can export that out to CSV or PDF, and you can do the date range. So you can actually see who's actually supporting you the most. And at the same time, we can actually do who do you spend money with. So purchases by vendor, same thing. If we want to actually see how much money you're spending with various people, you can do it through here. And then you've got the good old aged receivables and the aged payables. So this is your report that actually shows you who hasn't been paying you and where you should be focusing your debt collection timeframes. So here we can see that Sarah Showerman is 30 days or less overdue. And so this is quite a good report just to keep an eye on as you go through. Bearing in mind all the dates in this are American, so everything's going to be back to front. And then you've got, you know, general ledger. So these are sort of the accounts, the reports that as accountants we use these. But you can actually look at all your account balances and see exactly where you're at. So here we can see accounts receivable. We started with nothing. Then we had $2,150 that we invoiced out. We got paid $125. Well, the reality is that means stuff to us as accountants, maybe not so much to you as business owners. Is there anything in particular that you would like Wave to do for you, Linda?
No, I think it's actually going to work quite well for me. And that I haven't actually, set anything up yet, but I only really have a few customers where I'm doing minute taking for, so it's a lot easier now than it was when I had cleaning here, cleaning there, and cleaning everywhere.
Yep. And I think too, it's so much easier to maintain using something like Wave than it is to do the Word documents and create invoices and then copy and paste and change dates and all that sort of stuff. So that's pretty much a quick overview of what Wave can actually do. It is free. So yeah, jump in, check it out. Invite us in if you decide to go down the road of using Wave so that we can see what you're up to. And then we call you in a couple of times a year and we look at your figures. So at least by having the Wave, we can actually be prepared for our meetings. But other than that, it is a really good product to use if you are just starting out in business. So there you have it. Have a great day, and yeah, keep in touch if we can help you at all. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.